welcome back to the Skinny Truth podcast. It has been a while, and you guys have been wondering where we've been, but it's just been summer and busy. But today we are here with a special guest again, and I'm going to let Dr. Roller introduce them.
All right. Well, it's good to be back. I think we took a good 3 to 4 weeks off there. Is that about what it was?
So a while.
I know it's been too quiet, so definitely missed it. So first of all, one of the topics that we're going to talk about is just bariatric nutrition and protein and vitamins, and why it's so important. But not just, everybody knows vitamins are important, but getting into the kind of the nitty gritty of why they're important, how they're made, who they're made by, that kind of thing. And so this is our guest today. His name is Vic Giaconia. He's the president and owner of Celebrate Vitamins. And just in full disclosure, I've been working with Vic now for at least 12 years, 13, about 12 years. And so it's been a long time. So, glad, thank you for making the time to join us and talk to our people. You're the owner. This is what you do for a living. So I guess let's start off with, telling everyone, how did you get into the world of bariatric surgery, bariatric vitamins, protein, and the full line that you have at Celebrate?
So that's probably that's the number one question that I get asked whenever I talk to anybody, whether within bariatrics or not. And the truth is, I was in corporate America for a long time, and it's tough. It's a nameless, faceless world. And I did not enjoy it. I did well, but at a certain point in time, it just kind of wore on me. And a friend of mine knew about this opportunity running this small nutritional supplement company in bariatrics. I had to look up what bariatrics was to try and figure out what this was all about. So I started running this other company, and I did that for about 2 years in a very similar type fashion of what I do now with Celebrate. And, ultimately, long story short, it was owned by a surgeon, and, surgeons are interesting. They have their way of doing things, and I have mine.
For sure.
And the two of us were kind of oil and water a little bit, and so we decided that working together wasn't really the best thing for us. But I had learned so much about this industry, and I looked at this space, and I had always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so when we were parting ways, I was like, this is just, it's too good. And so I wanted to do something, and every day I got up, I made an impact, I made a difference. And so I took everything I had, and I jumped feet first and started Celebrate.
Well, that's a big leap, especially, I can't imagine, you must not have been a very good surgeon if you couldn't get along with him, because,
I don't know.
Well,
honestly.
They just like it their way. That's how it is.
They really do.
Yep.
It's really not our fault. That's how we're trained. This is what they do in residency, is like, you always have to have it a certain way. It has to be perfect for every patient. And so then that does bleed out into other aspects of your life, right, for better or for worse.
I mean, you do want that if you're the patient. Yeah.
For the patient on the table. But if you're the wife at home, or the teenage daughter, it can get you into a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah.
That's a little different story.
Well, so, I remember starting off my practice, and I remember, I was going to do it different. I wanted patients to have choices and the freedom to choose and make their own decisions. And I will never forget, it seems like everything that's ever happened in my practice, I can take it back to like one person that's made me change the whole thing. But I handed her, I made these 3x5 cards, and I got them laminated, and I was like, make sure your protein drink has, all these little things in it. Your multivitamin has all this and this and the right percentages. And I was so proud of this card. And she came back in a few months later, and the vitamin levels were off. Well, tell me what you're taking. And I looked at it, she brought them in. I was like, what is this? This is not anything close to what your card says. And she goes, have you ever gone to the drugstore or anywhere where they sell vitamins and looked at your card and tried to do it yourself? And I was like, no, I have not. So I did. I went that weekend and I tried it. And just like most of the stuff in our office, I will try that stuff. I think Laura's probably the same way with all the stuff that she has.
Yeah.
I'm sure you try it before you put your name on it.
Absolutely.
I tried it and I was like, my God, you have to be a registered dietitian to go pick the right thing. Just like on a men's multivitamin, are you for age 41, for age 42 to 44? If you're 51 with gray hair, if you're 51 with gray hair and bad knees, and it's like, you shouldn't need to have a degree in this to make a decision. And so
right.
That is when we it's like, okay, you can't have too many choices. And there is a need for specialized vitamin supplementation after weight loss surgery. We're changing your intestines around so you don't absorb the way you're supposed to. So that is when I started researching companies, and then eventually landed on Celebrate. And I'm trying to think, it was you and your brother at first, right Vic?
Yeah.
Starting this thing, and you're the good looking one.
Well, so I've been told. By you.
Right, yeah. Well, so that's how we met, and then the whole thing was to try to simplify it. That's why I like your products and you keep it simple for the patient, easy to read terms. I think that's one of the best things you've done.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, honestly, like it's challenging when you're literally trying to meet everybody's individual unique needs, and that gets pretty tough. So you basically aim for that 80% mark and hope that you can find something within that world that's going to work for people, and they're going to be happy about and satisfied with. And just like you said, you were trying to come up with that unique thing from a company standpoint. And we've done a lot of good things, I think, through the years, but one of the most importantly is that customer service has always been number one on our table. I believe in the golden rule. I believe that I want people to treat me a certain way, and
Yep.
I expect that of my customer service team, top to bottom of the company, and that's how we work with our customers.
Well, Laura, let me ask you this question, because you've done it, you've been through this, and how was it knowing how we kind of had our program laid out, and like, here's what you need your multivitamin, you need your calcium, you need these things, but you had options within each category.
Mm-hmm.
How did that work for you as a patient? Too many options, not enough? Why just right?
I will say in the beginning, it was overwhelming just because you're changing everything about the way you're living. So you're trying to follow this post-op liquid diet and trying to figure out what vitamins to take. And it seems like a lot, but now I'm like, it's not a lot. It's so easy. But I don't feel like there were too many options. It was like you either have the capsule multi 80K or you take the chewable. Is there a chewable in the 80K? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so it was pretty straightforward, like one or the other. Which one do you want? Same with like iron. Do you want a chewable or a tablet? So I feel like in that aspect, it was very simplified down.
Yeah. And or which flavor of the multivitamin,
right,
on the chewable. Because that's right. Do you want a chewable? Do you want this? And then break it down to certain flavors. And Vic, you couldn't have said it any better. Like you're really trying to please the most amount of people as you can with one product. So I like that 80% rule, but it's hard to please everybody. We can't even please everybody for dinner at 5 of us.
Yeah.
Right. Much less a whole nation of weight loss surgery patients. Right. So, what in your words would you say, now you have this platform to tell everybody why you think, what makes Celebrate unique and different than the other products out there?
Right. But besides me?
besides you, and the fact that you've known me for a while now.
If you come to Celebrate, you get me. The first thing about Celebrate, and I think if you look at bariatric supplement companies in general, it's easy to say, oh, they all look alike. And I think the first thing that you would look at is like we have a big variety of product, and and that's a double-edged sword sometimes, because like Laura said, it can be overwhelming with the options, but at the same time you want to give people choices, right? And so like I look at it this way, like I like chicken, but I don't want to eat it every day. And so we want to try and create enough choices to allow for variety without confusing patients. So from a variety standpoint, we have we have 30% more variety than our next closest competitor, and twice as much as the next one after that. And in doing so, I've roughly 100 different products out there that people can choose what vitamins work best for them. Obviously we pay attention to quality, and we're not gonna make a product just to make a product. We're not going to create something that doesn't meet ASMBS guidelines. It's really important that when you're creating things that you have an ethical standard that you live to, and we work really hard to stay within that realm. And I think the other thing too, honestly, is that the team that I have is really important, because there's a family mentality that's associated with Celebrate. And we're the largest independently held bariatric supplement company in the world. And to me, I think that that's really important, in the sense that all of the other companies, the larger ones at our level, basically they've been gobbled up by private equity, and so you really don't know who's driving the bus. When you're working with Celebrate, there's one person that is responsible. At the end of the day, like it or not, I've got to be responsible for what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I would say that definitely makes you unique. I mean, just the fact that if someone calls in with a complaint, that's going to make it to your desk.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize, like, that information does get to me. And I do, as we've grown through the years, like I've divested myself of certain tasks, a lot of them, quite honestly, right? I still hold on to certain things so that I can maintain a grounding. Like I still am the person that reviews all the Google reviews that we get, because I want to know what people are saying. If somebody doesn't like something, and that's tough too. When you're taste is subjective, right? So when you're creating a product, and I'll taste the product, I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. And then I have somebody that they taste and they're like, oh my God, did you taste that? That is terrible. And I'm like, you hurt my feelings, right?
Lots of blood, sweat, and tears into that taste.
Yeah.
I know.
That could not be any more accurate. I think the one thing that we can all three agree on, well, there's lots that we all three agree on, but for a fact, this is so critical to your long-term success and avoiding complications. I mean, Laura, how many people are constantly commenting on your Instagram page about vitamin deficiencies and problems and this and that? And
oh yeah, all the time, saying don't get the surgery. I know so and so that had to have iron infusions for the rest of their life or whatever. But also the shocking amount of people that tell me they didn't get any direction on what they should be taking post-op, and they're taking a Flintstone multivitamin. So yeah, it's scary how many people don't have the correct knowledge and support post-op that they need.
I can tell you that when I was a fellow at Duke, that was the post-op regimen, was 2 Flintstone chewables.
Wow.
And that, I mean, it was a Duke, and that was, finished 2006 and 2007. And that, it matters because, so here's something that, and tell me what y'all think about this, that I will tell my patients all the time. There is, once we've had done the surgery and whether it's a duodenal switch or a gastric bypass and there's been rerouting, there is not any supplement or multivitamin or anything you can find that's at Walmart, Walgreens, GNC, Sam's Club, anything that is made for a bariatric patient. Those are made for the general population who have not had bariatric surgery.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And overall, I think Flintstones is a great product if you're a kid. But for bariatric patients, and just like you said, like when I came into the space, Flintstones was regular. That was a normal conversation that we would have as we were talking to programs.
There was a lot of, idea of let's keep it simple, and just take 2 of these a day and you'll be fine. And the idea of coming back and getting labs checked, and so I think they oversimplified it, and to where people got into trouble. And obviously you can go the other way too. You can make it way too complex, and then people won't do it. But vitamin deficiencies in general, I think, are 99% preventable. Take your supplements,
Right.
Go back and get your labs checked as your program details, and hopefully your program does detail that you should be doing this, and most reputable programs will say this is really important, and they should be avoidable. I mean, or you catch them early so you can, I don't know, it's like high blood pressure medicine. Your doctor starts you on a high blood pressure pill, then you go back in a month to see where your high blood pressure is, and is it working or not? If it's not, they double it. If it's working too well, they'll cut it in half. But you need to titrate it to figure out what is going to be enough, because we're all different that way too. So it's not like you can just take 2 multivitamins and say, I'm good for the rest of my life.
Right.
That's just not how that works.
Yeah. So I wanted to have your take on this, Vic. So we hear a lot of differing opinions on sugar and artificial sweeteners. And I mean, I hear so much about it on my page. What are my thoughts on taking it? And so I want to hear what your thoughts are on it.
So, I think that, it can be a really complex conversation. But I think the first thing is that, when we're talking about bariatric patients, you have to think about like the elements that are going to cause problematic to begin with, right? So the first thing we have to agree upon is the fact that, like, if we're creating something, we got to do something to sweeten this product, right? Because it's not going to be turkey and mashed potatoes. Although
Right.
people have asked me for flavors like that, and I think that.
Oh my gosh!
But I haven't asked those flavors yet.
Yeah.
But so you've got to put something in there. We know that high levels of sugar are going to cause problems. I mean, first of all, it's going to cause potential dumping issues if you've had a gastric bypass. And it's, if you try and put it in there, you're going to have carbs, you're going to have calories to deal with. So high levels of sugar are not going to be the answer. So you're going to have to put artificial sweeteners of some kind. So it really starts to become an issue as far as where you're comfortable with, as far as the types of artificial sweeteners you're using. So when we're looking at creating products, there's low intensity, then there's high intensity. So the low intensities are the things like maltitol, sorbitol, xylitol, and then you're going to have high intensity ones that are like ACE-K, aspartame, sucralose. And then you start to get into the point of, okay, how do we use the low intensity with the high intensity to create a nice blend so it's not too sugary, it's not too sweet, and that's where you try and get to the blend. The other part that you have to deal with is like just from a comfort level on your own personal opinion, because if you go out on the internet and you start reading articles, you're going to see all sorts of things about everything that I just named, and everybody's going to have a different opinion that something's going to kill you. And so you have to start to determine one, okay, what is it going to be? Because like apparently burnt toast kills you too. So is it going to be this thing?
That's what I say.
Yeah, right.
Everything kills us, right? I mean,
Right.
you could find something, everything is going to kill us. So I don't know. Yeah.
Well, they've said that about sweet and low forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Now,
still
like,
around. It's still there. And
right. I have personally, and I won't use aspartame and I won't use ACE-K. Those are two common high intensity sweeteners. I've done a lot of research on them, and so we will not use them in a Celebrate product. I will use sucralose, but we use it at low levels. And so, like, I was reading an article the other day where they showed a study that was done, affected the gut microbiome, and then all of a sudden, if on the heading, you're like, oh my God, sucralose is terrible, it's going to destroy your gut microbiome. But they were using 30 grams of sucralose. Now, that's an enormous amount. Like, normally we use 20 milligrams of something.
Oh, wow.
So when they're talking 30 milligrams, of course you're gonna destroy your microbiome with that. And so just on an average, like, for sucralose use, the number I think it's 5 grams per kilogram body weight. And so like at 170 pounds, I can consume like 380 milligrams of sucralose a day and not affect my gut microbiome. So it's really about, you really have to understand like what's involved in that. And that's really where the bariatric company comes in, or a company like us comes in, where like, you don't need to do that math. We're doing we're doing it
Right,
to make
you're
sure
doing the
it's
work.
problem for you.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I would say the study that always sticks out for me was one of the sweetener products, or aspartame, was, we killed rats, but it was in such mega doses for an extended period of time that it's not what anybody would do. And I wonder if you fed somebody, anything in that kind of dosage for that long, what would it do to you? I mean, we saw what it did on that documentary Biggie Size Me, eating McDonald's
Yeah.
for a month. I mean, so yeah, I agree, and I don't think that people know enough about the sweeteners. I mean, the sugar alcohols can be a problem for some people, and everybody reacts differently to them. So I think you just got to dial into which products you do well with.
And that's very legitimate right there. I mean, I may take a product and you take the same product, affect us completely different.
Right.
Yeah, there's no doubt. What is your favorite product that you developed at Celebrate?
That's like asking me who my favorite child is.
You have to have a favorite.
I do. Well, okay, so
a favorite child or a favorite product?
Well, I do have a favorite child because I have one, so he wins by.
Oh.
Now, if you ask my mom, I would probably not be the favorite. It'd probably be my sister, but that's
of course. That's of course that always how it works.
So the favorite product, we developed our what I see is it's groundbreaking, right? It's our Celebrate Clear Protein Water. And the reason that this product is so exceptional is the fact that, one, it was a new category for us, and we went in and did something that no one else has been able to do. And when I look at that, like I have a motto with the company, and it's either be first or be best. And if you can't be first, be best. And so that's what we did with our Clear Protein Water. Other people created protein waters. That's fine. They took their shot. When we did ours, you look at the marketplace, they're all going to be between 10 and 20 grams of whey isolate protein. We put 20 grams of protein in ours. Now you might say, okay, so you're at the top level. Well, yeah, but we did it in 12 ounces, where everyone else is putting theirs 10, 15, or 20 in 16.9 ounces. So we created a product that has high protein, low volume. And then the third thing we did, it's the best tasting protein water on the market. And I'm just blown away by it.
It is so good. I have tried many protein waters and never had found one that I liked. This product literally blows it out of the water. It's so good.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And you know that it's good for you as a bariatric surgery patient. That's the thing. Like, are you able to absorb this? So that's the problem with protein in general that's out there, is so many people, see 30 grams of protein, 40 grams of protein, and they drink it. It's like, well, yeah, but you really don't even know that's not the right kind of protein, and you're not absorbing all of it. And that's what leads to problems. So you're going to do it. So I honestly, I didn't know you were going to say that there, because I was going to introduce it to you, but this is it. This is the protein water, 20 grams. And that's the little roller weight loss guy on it. So Celebrate did that for us. But this one is the mixed berry and then the pink lemonade. But you also had, you just recently came out with 2 more flavors, right?
Yeah. So we introduced 2 new flavors. We introduced the cherry lime, and our 4th flavor called Hint of Lemon. And what I love about these flavors is, how like when you'll look at a variety of flavors of a drink, and like they all taste about the same. There's a red one and a green one and a blue one. These could not be more different. Like the berry is the sweetest of the spectrum. Then the cherry lime and the pink lemon are in the middle, and then the hint of lemon is just like is like barely there. It's like water, and then somebody did a little bit of lemon squeeze on there, and it's so incredibly light. So we're really appealing to, again, that 80% rule. I think we might get 90% on this spectrum.
Yeah, well, there's always a couple of naysayers. I think it's great. We have been selling these at our office since they came out, and we have a hard time keeping them in. So we also do our online sales on our website. But it is, it's just not like we're in the middle of summer and it's hot outside. And sometimes the last thing you want to do is make a protein drink.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
These you keep in the fridge, you keep them cool. I, I don't know. I mean, Laura, how do protein waters fit into your regimen?
I love them. Not only are you getting hydration, so counting as your water intake, but you're also getting your protein. And I know I've said it, but they are so good, you guys. And I like how you touched on the different flavor profiles, because even the two that I've tried, the mixed berry, pink lemonade, they are so different. One is very sweet and one is more tart. Like the lemonade is definitely more tart. They're just so good.
Yeah, and you can do different things with them. You can use them as mixers. You can add water to them if you wanted more volume. Poolside drinks at parties, whatever.
I'm not gonna say I haven't tried it, but yeah.
There's a variety of ways to get your protein.
There are, yes.
Adult ways. We keep them in our house for our kids. I got one that's going to be a college athlete, and so she's really into her protein, and then. I've got one that we're really trying to stay away from all the dyes and the red dyes and the red 20s and all the stuff that you read about. And so that's where you've got a legitimately healthy option, for all kids, adults, bariatric patients, non-bariatric patients, bariatric surgeons, and it just seems to work for everyone involved.
Yeah, that's a great point, because we won't use any artificial color dyes in our product. Never have, never will. All these are naturally colored.
That's big, because if you talk about reading a hot topic out there, reading about the dyes. I mean, Kristen went through our house. This was a few months ago. This is all off Instagram. I mean, and cleared the pantry. She cleared the little icebox drawers. It's like where did my Gatorade Zeros go? Great options and just gone. So, again, that's just what we do now. As parents and doctors and everybody, you got to make your own choices. But I think the fact that I don't have dyes in there is really important.
What has been the best experience, Vic, that you've had with Celebrate?
Wow. Honestly, for me, I don't think that there's one single experience. I think it's been, it's been a collection of small things over 17 years that, they just add up. I get the benefit of having a lot of interesting conversations with a lot of interesting people, and I've done it on, in many, many states, numerous countries, and different continents at this point. And
wow.
So we have, like I said, we have 100 products, and we're distribution on 5 continents. We have a team in the US and a team in Europe. And, to me, there are times that I pinch myself and I'm like, this is really my company. And that's really mind blowing. When Dr. Roller, you started your own business and your own practice, and, people they see you years later and they're like, wow, that must be fantastic. But they didn't see you when you were in those first few months and you were fetal position at 2 a.m. in the morning, shaking your head inside, wondering, I got mortgage and car payments and kids and, all of these challenges. And to get to this point, I feel so incredibly lucky and fortunate to do what I do. And again, I get to get up every morning and do something I think that makes a positive impact. And I'm thrilled for that.
Absolutely. I love that. I do want to ask, because I did not realize Celebrate was available in 5 continents. What, because that's huge. I have, in my following, I have a lot of people all over the world. So where else do you ship to or are available?
Now you're gonna really quiz me. So we ship the numerous places in South America, North America, obviously, Europe. We ship into the Far East. We're as far as New Zealand and Australia.
Wow.
Probably the only area that we're not in is the Middle East. That's probably the only challenging spot for us as far as from a distribution standpoint. But We personally control the U.S., North America, and then Europe.
Okay. So people can those people that live in those locations can place orders on your website?
Yeah, and we actually have specified websites for different areas. So, like, we have a separate
Okay.
website for Canada. We have a separate website for, we have numerous in Europe. I think we have 5 websites in Europe
Okay.
that cover that area. And then we have distributors, like on our page, like we have distributors in Australia and New Zealand, Ecuador, a few other places as well. In South America, and most of those links are on our website through our international section.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
I will say this as a small business owner, and I'm sure Laura, I mean, you're definitely fit into the small business owner. Actually, you're a large business owner at this point, but one of the things that I personally look for when I'm like using products or going to use supplies in the OR, staplers and different burning devices and all the stuff that we use is like, I kind of want to know who the owner is. And that makes a difference to me when I have somebody to go to, like, okay, I want to know this, not just some huge company, but who is responsible for this product. And I've really got my ways where I've whittled it down to a lot of those companies. But I'll never forget going to dinner with Vic and Nick, his brother. That first time at the ASMBS, and that's the American Society of Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery for those who don't know. It's kind of our governing body. It was Kristen and I, and we were trying to figure out, what we're going to do about protein and supplements and that such. And we left that dinner going, okay, those were like 2 normal people. We think we can do business with us. And you wouldn't know you wouldn't know by talking to you that you have this big company and all over the world. And it is important when you're dealing with anybody that they are invested in their own company and they want to make it great. And I read our Google reviews too, and thank God most of them are good, but we focus on the what can we do better ones? Was somebody having a bad day at the front desk, or with somebody not say something? We also have to deal with the hospital stuff and who's there. Mm-hmm. So I think it is important. So that's another reason wanted Vic to come on and say you can put a name with a face, so we'll celebrate who you're dealing with, and that it is a normal person who cares about patients as well. So, and we found that to be true, both Kristen and myself in our practice the whole time we've known them.
So the funny thing was the number of times that like I've gotten calls from Dr. Roller at night, Saturday afternoon, and they always seem to stand out too. Like I know where I was for each one of those calls and what the topic of conversation was, because I was usually getting my behind chewed a little bit for something that was done somewhere.
That's right. I remember those phone calls too. But for the most part, they're usually good phone calls. So I will say, it as a bariatric surgeon, it is so important to be on a good quality post-op regimen. I mean, I just can't say enough about it. Almost every time you see somebody that says, well, I know somebody that had it and they've had problems. First question I asked is who did their surgery? Where was it done? Are they following up with their program? What supplements are they taking? And you can basically figure out what's going on in those 4 questions. Mm-hmm. Like every time. You can almost always figure that out. So when you say someone's on, when my patients say, okay, no, I take all Celebrate. Okay, it's like we eliminate that one from our list and we go to the next issue. So Laura, I know you're still real dedicated to your regimen, and mm-hmm. I think all your stuff has been in the box the entire time.
Yeah, I've had no issues. In the beginning, I think it's just finding that happy spot because everybody's different. One person might need a little bit extra boost for one level. But once we got that figured out, my level, I've not had any issues at all.
That's awesome.
I'm a Celebrate lover for life.
And Luke just had his 9-month appointment today, right?
He did, yeah. So he hasn't. I don't know. Do you draw labs? I don't know that you do it.
I don't think we do it in 9 months because they're pretty stable. We will at a year. Yeah, so.
But he's had 0 issues too. I mean, across the board. So, and he takes his Celebrate every day as well.
Okay, Vic, here's a question. What are you seeing trend-wise with the duodenal switch procedure in our country? You see it on the rise, stable?
It's becoming more prevalent. It's still small from a pocket standpoint. The one thing that I can tell you is that it's much more consistent based upon the numbers that are moving through the practices that are doing it, and they seem to be having more consistent, better long-term results. And I think overall, the percentage of procedures that are being done, whether it's DS, modified DS, or a version of Sadie or something like that, I see that as probably more of the procedure of the future than anything else. And I think it's probably, likely will become more of the gold standard in replacing the gastric bypass.
No, I would 100% agree. And Laura and Luke are living testaments. I love that comment the other day, Laura, where somebody said, everybody gains their weight back by 2 years. And you're like, you're on my page, and it's been almost 3 years.
Right. That I was just going to say that. She's like, I don't remember what it was. She knows somebody in the medical field that had the surgery and gained all their weight back. Everybody will gain their weight back within 2 years. I'm like, hold up. I'm like, I'm 2.5 years post-op, and there's lots of factors that go with that. First being, what type of surgery did they have?
Yes, that is so critical. And that she was in the UK, and we recently had a patient that came over from your page and the podcast, and she's like, so she came from Scotland to Fayetteville, Arkansas to have surgery, had the duodenal switch. But I would say the most popular procedure over there is the sleeve. So, maybe that's what they're seeing, but that's the number one question is, what procedure are they having to figure out if weight, because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen to even the majority of patients. It happens to a small minority of patients. But by 2 years, that is like, I couldn't believe that comment. So,
yeah.
Again, I think if you follow the tips that we've been saying for this season, get your protein in, take your supplements, do your follow-up, get your exercise, which is 5 days a week, 30 minutes of time, hot and sweaty. Right. It just works.
Be successful. Yeah, it works.
It works.
I'm very happy with, our conversation. I hope you guys, learned a little bit about Celebrate. And,
I for sure did.
Continue to, be the poster child for Celebrate vitamins and keeping things moving forward. Like, we're going to keep doing everything we do. We like creating and working with people. And so again, just thrilled that we just keep getting to do it.
Well, and Laura, I think you're the one who's famous for the code. So I'll let you,
Yes. Everybody wants to know, can we get a code, Vic, for Celebrate?
Yes, absolutely.
Yay.
So, why don't we do, for on behalf of the Skinny Truth, we'll do Truth with a capital T 10, and that'll give you 10% off your order using that code.
All right. So use Truth 10, TRUTH 10, and you get 10% off their order. That's awesome. That's that'll be huge. And I highly recommend the especially in the summertime. I mean, it is so hot here in Arkansas. I know Tulsa is too. So get them in the fridge.
Yes. I'm going to go place an order for those new flavors.
Awesome. Well, I would like to just say thank you very much again, Vic, for joining us. And thanks to, for all your knowledge and helping our patients and all you've done for patients over your career, making protein and supplements. So thanks to all the people that are watching. We're going to, as the summer winds down, we'll start picking back up every week with our episodes as we get kids back into school. And I know Laura has been even busier than I have. So
I don't know. I mean, you've been on vacation, I feel like, every week. You come work a couple days and then you're gone for a week.
I know, that's what I might say at the office, but no, it's been good. This is kind of like our last hurrah with our oldest going to college, but it's been good. I've enjoyed this summer. So again, if you would follow, subscribe we're on YouTube, Spotify, and the podcast channel. We'd love to have you. With plans coming up with a lot more special guests and different topics. We're going to try to get into some controversial areas and see if we can stir it up a little bit. So again, thank you for joining us, and we appreciate you taking the time to listen to us.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.